So I want to break down this article as fast as possible about software-defined network or software-defined perimeter on the Waverly Labs website. So it's a pretty good article. I just copied and pasted all this into my Google Doc so I could just highlight the most important concepts and then apply even more pictures to help everyone with understanding. The author is Juanita, and it was written in May 25th, 2016. And I stumbled upon this doing research about the software-defined perimeter. She first just points out that the software-defined perimeter is kind of the new thing, while SDN has been around for a little bit. She says SDNs manage the networking infrastructure. Okay, they're managing that. This is done by decoupling the system that makes decisions about where traffic is sent. And so that part of the networking system, that is called the control plane. I really like this article for explaining the difference between the control plane and the data plane. And if you get stuck on this stuff, like here's a good picture, the management plane is like the command line interface itself, so you can use that to manage the network, right? And then let's jump down to the data plane, because the data plane is the actual movement of application data packets. So it's the thing that makes that movement possible, such as routing tables or IP tables. As a reminder, IP tables is a user space utility program that allows a system administrator to configure the tables provided by the Linux kernel. So it's a Linux thing. So between management and data itself is the control plane. There's a lot of products out there that offer this, but focus on the word decisions right here. Control is all about making decisions, right? So SDN, software-defined networks, is all about making the most effective decisions. Here's another good picture. You have yourself the control plane and thus a controller right there with access to all the switches in the data plane. And the switches and routers, they have ARP tables and routing tables. Here's a good picture for you to connect that to, especially if you're studying for the Security Plus. But what about all the other things like load balancing, creating fault tolerance? Some of the things I just said are in this picture. It's a picture about Sdn Benefits. I mean, it is inexpensive, but people are still finding a cost, if nothing else in human capital, to go to software-defined networks. But when you have your controllers here, or a controller, that's nice because the commands can be more centralized. But that's SDN. SDP is all about security or control. Juanita points out here that it's nice that SDP mitigates the most common network-based attacks. In particular, we're talking about DDoS attacks. So SDN is the notion of establishing a dynamic networking infrastructure, okay? Getting users to connect from one point to another very fast and efficiently. So in that sense right there, it's almost the opposite of what SDP is doing. It's creating another barrier. It might be slowing things down because you're doing that for the sake of security. But the nice thing about that is you, as the business owner or the organization, you get to define how that works. So one more thing about this article. Two more things, I lie, sorry. The thing I wanted to say first, though, is the SDP is really interesting. They're saying, Juanita is claiming here in the article, that it is 100% effective in stopping those attacks based on what she says, numerous hackathons. I wonder which ones this was tested in. But I think it is cool that they're testing it. And to finally wrap up the article, she does one of the best things I think a tech writer can do, and that is supply real-world examples. So this software-defined perimeter, not only is it being used by DoD, but industry giants like Mazda and Google. If you want another public sector example that's not DoD, DHS is developing the industry's first open-source version of SDP. But whether you go open source or proprietary, there are just so many SDN products and SDP products out there. And some of them have really good marketing teams that provide us graphics like this one. So thanks, Juanita, for writing this article. And if you guys want to learn more, go to Waverly Labs. They have a lot of interesting posts. And it's just a great place to go if you want to learn more about how to stop network attacks.